Some wounds cut deeper than broken bones, especially when they're inflicted by the one person you trusted with your whole heart. Until that night, I had believed my life was blessed, that I was the luckiest woman alive. Then my husband's savage kick shattered not only my leg, but every illusion I had ever held about love. In the bleakest moment of my life, when despair threatened to swallow me whole, it was in the wide, terrified eyes of my 4-year-old daughter that I found the faintest spark of hope. Rain battered the windows in a furious rhythm that matched the violence of the man looming above me. Pain shot up from my calf, flooding my body until even screaming felt impossible. I curled on the cold tile floor, biting my lip so hard I tasted blood. My vision blurred, but I could still see Damon's polished shoes planted inches from my face. He crouched, seized my hair, and wrenched my head back. The face I had once loved was twisted beyond recognition, flushed with rage. "How dare you talk back, you worthless leech?" he spat. He ranted about the $50,000 I had refused to give him for his latest business venture, accusing me as though I'd betrayed him. Each word stabbed deeper than the last. Leech. I had left my job at his urging to raise our daughter, Layla. I had handed him everything, my savings, the proceeds from the condo my parents left me, every cent to fund his endless dreams, and still, I was nothing in his eyes. "I swear, Damon," I whispered through tears, "I don't have anything left. I gave you everything last month." "Liar." He yanked my hair harder. "Your adoptive parents left you a house. You sold it and hid the money. That house had paid for the heart surgery he claimed he needed 3 years ago." I didn't have the strength to remind him. My leg throbbed violently, then began to feel strangely numb. Something was terribly wrong. "Please," I begged, shaking. "My leg hurts so much." He laughed, a hollow, chilling sound, and released me, letting my head slam against the floor. "Good. Maybe you'll learn to keep your mouth shut." He walked to the sofa, picked up his phone, and in an instant, his voice turned syrupy sweet. "Yes, sweetheart, just finishing some business. I'll be there soon. Can't wait to see you and our son." "Our son?" The words froze my blood. From the crack of Layla's bedroom door came a tiny, strangled sob. She stood there, eyes huge and wet, her small hands covering her mouth. She had seen everything. Damon noticed her. "Stop crying and go to your room. Close the door." She trembled, but she didn't move. Instead, she looked at me. In that fragile moment, I found courage. I shook my head slightly and glanced toward the phone on the table. My eyes pleaded. When Damon turned away to light a cigarette, Layla slipped out silently. She pretended to trip, knocking the phone to the floor. "Clumsy kid," he barked without looking back. That was her chance. She grabbed the phone and ducked beneath the table, her tiny fingers shaking as she unlocked it. Her birthday was the code. She found the contact labeled "Beloved Grandpa" and pressed call. "Grandpa," she whispered, voice breaking. "Mommy's going to die." After an agonizing pause, a calm, steady voice answered. "Layla, sweetheart, you did so well. Tell Grandpa where you are." I forced out our address in the Bronx apartment Damon had turned into a prison. "Lock yourselves in a room," he instructed. "Don't open the door for anyone. Grandpa's coming." We hid in the bathroom. Minutes dragged by like hours. The storm outside faded, replaced by the distant rumble of engines, low, powerful, expensive. Through the peephole, I saw 4 men in black suits escorting an older man with silver hair and a dark wooden cane. His posture was straight, his presence commanding. "Sophia, it's Grandpa. Open up." The moment I heard his voice, I collapsed into his arms. "It's over now," he murmured. "No one will hurt you again." Damon returned on his motorcycle, fury draining from his face at the sight of luxury sedans and suited men. "So you're Damon," Grandpa said evenly, "the one who hurt my granddaughter." Moments later, Damon was seized and arrested for domestic violence. His protests echoed down the hall as they dragged him away. We left that apartment for good. The doctor later confirmed my leg wasn't broken. Layla slept in Grandpa's arms, exhausted but safe. His name was Alexander Monroe, a powerful CEO who had been a distant but steadfast figure throughout my life. After my adoptive parents, Franklin and Martha Patterson, died during my senior year, he had stepped in quietly, paying for my schooling and offering stability. You're not alone, he had told me back then. From now on, I'm your family. I should have listened when he warned me about Damon's eyes. Damon had been charming at first, ambitious, attentive. We married. Grandpa gifted us a condo and generous funds, which Damon soon sold under the guise of independence. After Layla's birth, he insisted I quit working. His temper worsened as his ventures failed. Anger became blows. I endured in silence, for my daughter. That illusion ended the night my child saved my life. At Grandpa's Hampton estate, I began rebuilding. Mr. Davis, his lawyer, froze our joint accounts and began investigating Damon's finances. Within days, the truth surfaced. Over $500,000 I had given him over 3 years had not gone into business ventures. It had been funneled into a shell company, Golden Future Investments and Development LLC, registered under a woman named Eliza Sterling. The same woman Damon had met at a cafe. Photos revealed the rest. Beach trips in Miami 3 years earlier, just months after I sold my parents' house for his heart surgery. Images of Damon cradling a baby boy. Birthday parties in a luxury apartment. A second family. His son's name was Micah. He hadn't just cheated. He had built an entire life funded by my sacrifice. The pain was indescribable, but beneath it, something hardened. I want to go all the way, I told Grandpa and Mr. Davis. I want justice. And so the battle began. As legal pressure mounted, Damon sent pleading messages that quickly turned into threats. We preserved them all as evidence. Investigations expanded to fraud, tax evasion, and embezzlement. Then his mother arrived, kneeling dramatically in our living room, begging forgiveness for her misunderstood son. When tears failed, curses followed. I had once been shaken by her words. Now, I felt nothing. Tell him, I said calmly. We'll see each other in court. But the greatest transformation wasn't legal, it was personal. I stepped into my role within the Monroe Group. I traded timid silence for sharp suits and sharper analysis. I studied financial reports, led meetings, negotiated deals. Executives who once doubted me began to listen. Respect replaced pity. The media shifted its tone, from scandalized wife to rising executive. I was no longer Sophia, the submissive spouse. I became Sophia Monroe. A month later, after a long week of meetings and negotiations, I decided to buy Layla a dress for her school performance. I drove Grandpa's white convertible to a luxury department store and browsed through delicate pink gowns. I had just chosen the perfect princess dress when a familiar, cutting voice sounded behind me. Well, it sneered, if it isn't the vice president. You look wonderful, Eliza said, her tone syrupy and sharp at once. Luxury cars, designer boutiques, you've really upgraded your life. I turned slowly. There she was, Eliza Sterling, the woman who had built her comfort on my ruin. Damon stood beside her, thinner than before, his expensive suit hanging a little too loosely on his frame. The polish was still there, but the arrogance had dulled. When his eyes met mine, surprise flashed, followed by something like shame. He buried it quickly beneath practiced indifference. Eliza didn't bother disguising her scrutiny. Her gaze dragged over me from head to toe, lingering with open envy. One hand rested possessively on her rounded stomach, the gesture theatrical, deliberate. What's the matter? She continued lightly. Did you think you could ban us from places like this? I suppose it's overwhelming for someone who probably grew up shopping at flea markets. I smiled faintly. Silence can be sharper than any retort, and mine unsettled her. She leaned closer to Damon. Look at her. Now that she's a vice president, she acts like we don't exist. Or maybe she's still bitter because you left her. Her lips curved cruelly. After all, what man stays with a woman who can't even give him a son? That was enough. Are you finished? I asked calmly, meeting her eyes. I don't take advice from someone else's mistress, so if you'll excuse me, I'm busy. Her composure cracked instantly. Mistress? Watch your mouth. I'm his fiancée, the mother of his child. You're the one who doesn't belong. She moved toward me, but Damon caught her arm. That's enough, Eliza, he muttered. Then he looked at me, his voice lowering. Sophia, we don't need to do this. It's over. Let's leave it buried. Yes, I replied evenly. It's over. So keep your companion from barking at strangers. I turned back to the counter and placed the pink dress down for purchase. When I handed over the black card, Monroe Group's insignia gleaming subtly, the sales associate's posture shifted at once. Respect. Almost reverence. I didn't glance at them, but I felt the change in the air. The reversal was unmistakable. As I walked toward the exit, Damon's voice followed me. Sophia, wait. I paused but didn't turn until he was close enough to speak without raising his voice. I know I messed up, he said, the bravado gone. But you don't have to destroy me. The company's collapsing. If you just spoke to your grandfather, if you'd help a little. I faced him fully then. Destroy you? I repeated softly. Do you remember what you did to me? You drained my savings. You raised your hands against me. You tried to strip me of my daughter. Compared to that, bankruptcy is merciful. His jaw tightened. I was desperate. So was I replied. But I didn't choose cruelty. I stepped closer, my voice lowering just enough to carry weight. Be grateful I've stopped where I have. Don't test how far I'm willing to go. The next building you enter might not be a corporate office. The color drained from his face. For a moment, he looked exactly as he had the night everything ended, small. I left him there, frozen among passing shoppers. The encounter unsettled me, but it also confirmed something important. He was afraid, truly afraid, and a desperate man is unpredictable. Not long after, we learned he was planning one final spectacle, a lavish investor gala at a 5-star hotel in Midtown. Officially, it was a showcase for Golden Future Investments and Development LLC's revolutionary project. In reality, it was a last attempt to salvage credibility and lure fresh capital. This time, I would not watch from the shadows. Through intermediaries, we introduced a fictional Singapore venture fund willing to invest $35 million. Damon took the bait without hesitation. He poured everything he had left into staging a dazzling event, inviting press, partners, and potential backers. He wanted headlines. He got them. The ballroom shimmered with chandeliers and champagne flutes when I arrived. Conversations faltered as I entered in a tailored black gown. At my side stood my grandfather. Behind us, our legal counsel and security. Damon's smile died the instant he saw us. President, Sophia, he stammered. What are you doing here? I heard a major investor was attending. I replied smoothly. I wouldn't miss such an educational opportunity. He couldn't refuse us, not in front of everyone. When he took the stage, he spoke grandly of innovation, growth, a brilliant future. The lights dimmed. The giant screen behind him flickered and went black. A ripple of confusion swept the room. Then the screen came alive again. Not with his logo. With an image of my bruised face. Silence fell like a blade. The slideshow shifted to security footage, him dragging me by the hair. Gasps, murmurs, phones lifting, investors exchanging stunned looks. Then came the financial trails, transfers, shell accounts. The name of Golden Future Investments and Development LLC stamped across highlighted documents. Audio recordings followed, his voice mocking my trust, calling me easy to manipulate. The ballroom transformed from celebration to indictment. I rose and walked to the stage. Damon Garrett, I said into the microphone, my voice steady, the performance is over. I turned to the audience. I am not here for sympathy. I am here so no one else in this room becomes his next victim. Security moved before he could reach me. Police entered moments later, official documents in hand. Charges were read aloud. Fraud, embezzlement, aggravated assault. The sound of handcuffs closing was soft but definitive. Eliza slipped toward the exit. She would not outrun what followed. Investigations widened. Confessions came. The illusion collapsed completely. Months later, in federal court, verdicts were delivered. Damon received 20 years. Eliza received 7, reduced for cooperation and pregnancy. The courtroom was silent when the gavel fell. I felt no triumph, only stillness. Justice does not roar, it settles. In the years that followed, headlines faded. My focus shifted to healing, first my daughter, then myself. I stepped back from executive duties and devoted time to recovery, therapy, and rebuilding. Eventually, I returned, not as someone's sheltered granddaughter, but as a leader in my own right within the Monroe Group. Work became purpose. Purpose became strength. Most meaningful of all was the launch of Serenity Home, a refuge for women and children escaping abuse. What began as one center grew into many. I didn't fund it from afar. I sat with the women, listened to their stories, and reminded them that survival is not the end, rebirth is. 3 years passed. Layla's laughter returned fully. Fear left her eyes. Mornings became ordinary and precious again. On a quiet weekend by the California coast, my grandfather, my daughter, and I watched the sunset together. The ocean was calm, the sky painted gold. For the first time in a long while, I felt something simple and true: peace. The storm had not destroyed me. It had revealed me.